Okay, guys, so welcome to the bonus feature.
Which camera are you looking at?
I don't need to look at the camera. The cameras look at me. That's the whole goal.
Oh.
Everything on me,
Yeah.
me, everything. Hi, guys. You too. Follow this, Ben.
Except for this camera.
No, editing. So, welcome to the bonus. What the hell? What? Let's work as a team and not hate each other like in the game where you. Yeah.
Fantastic. Thank you for playing in my game.
It was a lot of fun. So what? I have a question. No, so developing this world and creating it from where it was to where it is now. How did you get through the different stages of building upon what John did in the first edition?
Well, fantastic. We had from the very first session we had with this concept of these gods fighting, and then we ended up with the last session we played where we tipped the balance severely in favour of life against the undead. Ashtahem.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, Ashtahem. And then we actually all discussed together as players, all three of us. So it wasn't a problem. I didn't have to keep everything an absolute secret from you guys. We were able to devise a general concept. Nathan, you had the most fantastic idea of these gods that we'd seen previously fighting, which hadn't really been referred to again, as chained down by this growing life. And then John and I talked a bit about what the consequences might be of changing the world radically on top of people, and maybe, we had this choice in the session when the players decided to tip the balance to nature and to life, and then they hadn't really taken into account all the consequences, and that was really lovely to do.
So, how important are the developing consequences? Like being able to run, giving players massive decisions to alter the world, and then taking that as a story element. Is that something that you've done before, or is this just the first?
I think this is something we've developed more and more as a group. I think
it suits our playstyle really well.
Absolutely. And because we are rather jovial at the table, naturally, I think anything that actually matters to us and actually makes us go, as players, as well as the characters obviously doing it, helps us. Because I think the joviality is fantastic, but if we've actually got stuff that really matters as well, it really helps us to stay focused, to keep the storytelling going while still having fun.
What kind of challenges did you face with the idea that we're actually sharing the setting?
Yeah.
And that the fact that there's a bit of responsibility over everybody to craft it. How did you feel when you had that responsibility on you? I
think, absolutely, trying to get it right. I mean, obviously, remembering lots of names and things is just a practical challenge, and pronouncing things that I didn't invent myself. So they're not just my usual. It's an attack bug again. The usual kind of cliched names that I come up with. I'm using someone else's.
Tony or Anthony or.
Yeah, that's right.
And I think that's something that for us to be able to sit down and really start to flesh out and write down, so we've all got a common language.
Yeah, we need to come up with a little glossary for us all, so that's all really, really clear. And just not wanting to step on someone else's creative toes and making sure I get kind of the feel. So it's a matter of communicating with each other, which I think we did really, really well.
I really like where you took the adventure at the start. You gave the entire setting a momentum, and I felt like we were in a world that was shifting right before our eyes. I thought that was a really strong element in it all. And just as a reflection, I just found that to be a really powerful tool moving the story forward. It felt like if we didn't do something, then this whole place is going to be destroyed.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, absolutely. I think it's really, really important in storytelling and in role-playing games to push the players forward to do something, to act. Because as soon as there's something decisive happening for the players, then the story naturally can progress. I think it's a real challenge to make that matter, and because otherwise their choices we could do whatever we like kind of thing. And
it also forces the players to go into the adventure rather than the GM pushing them.
Yeah.
They want to, I felt like I wanted to be doing something to change the situation that I saw in front of me, rather than thinking, well, what does the GM want me to do, and what should I be doing in this situation? That what does the story ask? This actually becomes an unconscious reaction to it rather than a thing. I don't know if you felt like
no, absolutely. In terms of just being drawn to where the action is, and just having wanting to be in the focal point, not wanting to run away, feeling powerful enough but not, you know what I mean? This kind of this controlled.
And what I really like about a well-designed game system, and Pathfinder is one of them, is that it's really easy to balance. You know that the boar is going to be not overpowering, but it's quite dangerous and potentially deadly. And I know that the wolves are going to be...
We do now.
Encounter. That's right. I knew that the dinosaur is absolutely fatally deadly very, very quickly, unless you come up with something really creative. But I can trust you guys are going to come up with something creative usually, given a bit of an environment, some trees.
And the 3D effect, just to, on that point, actually, because this is a new thing, we've never done this before. This is Ben's idea. And the 3D effect really does enhance that feeling of giving you an idea of what you can use within the environment and what you can fall off and what you can't, and giving you an idea of height and scale. So that was a really powerful tool, I thought, in this adventure. It was fun to play with too. And hopefully it looks cool on camera.
Oh yeah, I built a castle when we were experimenting with this, and just every table and chair had a little 3D element. So the tables, were 2 by 1 or whatever, and it just totally brought together how difficult it was to get across the room, and how easy it was to be in a commanding position, standing on a table, and then the dais up for the throne and everything like that. So I think it really brought it to life for us.
Yeah, it's a fun tool. I like it.
How do you? It's just taking another step back. How do you creating a world with other people, and are they limited? Are you limited? Do you feel limited, or do you feel?
It's totally easy. It's so fantastic. Like we, in between sessions, I just asked some simple questions. So how are we going to get? How are we going to get to here? I actually said to you guys, so we need to get to this encounter, which I want to have, and because the players are invested in the story, and we also have this contract to make it work. You guys are like, okay, right? We want to get back to the desert. That's going to bring us to this interface between forest, between jungle and desert. So you sort of totally go off in that direction, and then it's all sorted. And I think if you can collaborate, I think it's fantastic.
While still keeping enough secrets aside to be able to surprise us in moments too, which I certainly felt during this game.
And you really can. I mean, with a gaming system, you really can just set up a series of potential encounters and a series of environments, and then sort of twist them around and improvise as you go along.
Yeah.
How did you feel improvising with the rules? Because at the end we were getting pluses.
Yeah, that's fun.
Do you feel that you have to be confident with the gaming system, or you can just make these kind of decisions on the run as let's just say, as an experienced game master? Is messing around with the rules an experience thing, or is it just something that anybody can do?
So the GMs that I've played with, the best GMs, and you'll hear me talk about this on the Gamerati thingy to camera that I did,
which you find right here.
That's right. I talked about a really experienced GM who just totally messed with the rules quite a lot, especially at the end. And I think especially, and you've taught me this really, really well, John. At climaxes in the story, the rules become far less important. And that you have to really mess with things as much as you need to, because the story becomes really, really important. You can't allow the rules to get in the way of what makes sense dramatically, So you getting stuck across the river is a real problem. So I had to try and do everything to get you across the river. And then you're getting down by the spider. Like you can't spend the last dying moments of the whole scenario of a whole evening just lying unconscious on the ground. You just can't have that. So out the window go the rules. If God decides to lift you to your feet, gives you that epic moment, to show you're a star. And same thing. So what was really nice about adding those bonuses is that you had feats that were encounters before that were really problematic and dangerous, which you could actually overcome really easily, which foreshadows the whole sort of turn up of the mythic kind of thing. So yes. The short answer is, I think the more important the story is and the more critical the encounter is, the more the rules should be bent. And I guess as long as your players are all on the same team as you, then that's fine.
As long as there's still an element of risk and danger, the players know that they could die.
And that's easy to create. I just set the bore on you and take away 20 hit points in one go. And
I think the key one there was actually not so much this one, but the one earlier when my character was paralysed for 6 rounds.
Yeah.
And that's no fun for anyone.
No.
And with 2 players, one character completely out. It doesn't work. Yeah. So bending the rules and actually changing that situation, so like the situation where I pulled away from it and it was falling away too, and the tentacles released is a perfect example of keeping the action going quickly. And it does mess with the rules, but it's actually for everyone's benefit in the long run.
So you would say keep to the rules unless it's story critical, and make sure that you're creating a story. You're not creating like a rule centric.
Absolutely. And to help the fun of the players by It's got to seem like a simulation to at least a certain extent, yeah. But you've got to make it fun for all the players, yeah.
Because I remember. Oh, sorry. Yeah.
I was going to say on the idea, maybe this is something we haven't talked about on camera, is that we are actually playing a slightly altered version of how we would normally play if the cameras were off. And so this actually means that we are trying to play a faster paced game.
That's true.
Which means less looking at the rules, less trying to to get the exact details right, and more actually trying to think about what you guys want to see and what you guys want to watch. And being a bit flexible and all that.
I have played, especially with my son, who's a young, inexperienced GM. We have played together where, I think we did it as well, where we played, let's look up every single rule that we come across. Let's actually, we've got a situation here where the grapples come up, right, let's just open grapple and totally try and understand it. Which would be incredibly boring to look at, yeah. So that's right. So we're running fast and free with the rules.
And what we've found from that is that we actually enjoy that pace. Like we've found that as we've become more and more aware of there being cameras on, that we've enjoyed the style and flow of how it works as well. So it sort of fits with what we like as well.
Yeah, basically, that's right. There's an instant reaction, isn't there? Every time there's a potential blockage to the flow of the action, then that instantly is a problem, and we need to overcome it some way, whether we push or fudge or whatever.
Yeah. I just really enjoy the kind of the speed. I guess is what it comes down to, is this speed of encounter. And like I remember an example of a gaming moment which is not on camera. It was when your character Dirk had fear.
That's fear. Right. That's what taught me this experience. This mistake. Talk
us
through
that.
Absolutely. So this is one of the things I'd list.
I had flashbacks in this game.
I'd list as a mistake. So there was this fantastic moment where they were going to ambush this cult that was down this corridor, and they were going to sort of fireball in, and then the cult was kind of going to run in. They were going to cut them down one by one. And one of the characters in the story, had a fear spell, and I cast it on Dirk, and so suddenly the whole encounter's running, and then Dirk has 6 rounds or something of running randomly away. Getting sort of 5 rounds far away and then having to run straight back, which basically spoiled it for John
because he was 10 rounds out there.
Yeah,
because
that's
it was 5 rounds running away.
Yeah, that's right.
And then it was 5 rounds to get back when he was the tank.
Yeah,
so.
And I didn't fix it then, and we talked about the fact that was no fun at all, and so I've tried to avoid that sort of situation in the future. And if the dice, the reflex save hadn't have worked, then you would have been still paralysed for a little bit. But at least you'll feel like you're sort of. That's what I think. That's actually each round you get a potential to overcome it, so you still feel like you're active.
But I also felt like I trusted you to get me out of it too. That I knew that there was nothing I could do in that situation. That it was up to you to be able to do something, and that and I didn't have that moment of fear. Yeah, I'm like, okay, well I'm out of it. What am I going to do? Kind of thing. I felt like you'll find a way to bring it all back in.
Do you think? It's important for the players to actually speak to the GM about areas in which they're having difficulty, or actually, if you could help me out on this part, that'd be important. Is that something that you've done before, or is this something you try and work in now? Yeah,
that's right. Because different players like to have different stuff. So, for instance, you can end up in a situation where you've got one player who loves to plan carefully and execute a fabulous sort of plan. I think we talked this in the last video. Actually. We did. And then you can end up with another player who loves to act rashly. Yeah. And both of those do that because they don't get to do that in their normal life or whatever, or that's the way they operate, and they can really be frustrating each other. And if you're not aware of that as a GM, you can really, a lot of people can have a lot of sort of problems at the table.
So do you tailor situations for particular players?
Yeah. That's right. So you've got to let people shine at different moments and stop NPCs from shining, ladies and gentlemen. Please don't let your NPCs shine. Don't let them take any of the key moments at all away, if at all possible. Killing an NPC brutally before the PCs is a fantastic thing to do. I've definitely learnt that.
So it's more powerful to have NPCs fall and make the heroes feel more important.
Motivates them.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. So keep the pace going. That's right. So keep the pace going. Give outs for totally disabling effects for PCs. Let the PCs. Make sure you're sharing around the heroic limelight, which was hard in that last encounter because you were over the river and taking things down. So it's like, I've got to show,
I quite enjoyed that.
Shows John character and keep it fast paced.
Cool. Can I just do one more? Sorry, another question. In terms of playing with an established world, we've created this universe and this world, and we've got much more creative control over what happens to it. What would you say to a person who's playing in a Pathfinder or a Call of Cthulhu, established settings? Would you give them would you say be creative with the world, or like what's your thoughts on established worlds rather than creative worlds?
Yeah, so the Paizo guys absolutely will say, take the stuff that's in our modules and just bend it however, just totally change it, do whatever you want to. And I always view a module as source material and a great big massive shortcuts for me. You would have, if you watched this, you would have seen me falter on a name. Something so simple as a name can just ruin a scene. And all someone asks what's the person's name. And I don't even have a list of names.
Which
whatever.
is like
Andrew is all I thought. We came up with a really creative out, which was fantastic. But we had to cut the tape because of the massive 5-minute pause while we actually went through our old video to find the name. So what was the question? That's right. So a module. That's right. So a module has tons of rooms, tons of built-up encounters. I mean, if you're not so good at building encounters, and you're running 3rd level characters, we'll just take a module and steal all the encounters.
Yeah.
Sorry, I have another question. I know you want to... But okay. Creating an encounter is very important.
Yeah.
We had some very different encounters here.
Yes.
What would you say, like, what can you build an encounter on? Like, what... Is it story or setting? Or...
That's right. So you've got to make sure you don't have sequences of encounters that are similar, because that's really, really boring. So if you fight 2 orcs, you can't have the next one fighting 2 more orcs and then fighting 2 more orcs. The module I played today actually did that. At McQuarriecon, they had 3 encounters in a row, which were all just skeletal champions. It's like, oh, okay, fine. So you've got to have... You just got to mix them up. You have something that's really, really easy to kill, which makes people feel really strong. Then you have something that is really, really hard to kill, that almost kills almost drops one of the PCs. Then you have something that has some easily overcomable tactical kind of thing, and you've just got and then you have lots and lots of monsters. And then you only have one monster, and then what I've learned from John, which is fantastic, and from you like in your what's this, paranoia? It's like environmental element stuff just makes such a fantastic difference. So if you have a cliff edge or a river or and all your things about ticking time bombs and all that sorts of things, that just makes an encounter. So you take basically a mathematical sort of thing that you've set up and then add some unexpected element like a cliff edge or whatever.
And then you let your players get creative with that particular element. Right. Is like having players... I guess what it comes down to, and I know the answer here, but saying yes to ideas as a GM.
So John's rope idea.
What's the advantage of that?
No, of course you can't. The rope's far too weak, that rope is, to catch a velociraptor, It's the easy answer, but that's the worst answer you can possibly give as a GM. Like, yes, it's going to work. We're going to make it work, because that's,
And then the challenge is, how do you continue to keep it as a threat? And that's what you did really well, is that you still maintained a threat, even though, it looked like we had it in the bag. And that was a really good idea. I really like that concept. Especially killing Deirdre.
That's right, poor Deirdre.
Who has a name, we can mourn her.
Yes. Deirdre in several pieces. So fantastic.
The lack of the control was really good, was it?
The which?
Like having players actually think. As you said, was I don't know if it was on camera or off camera, but you said this creature could absolutely destroy you. But you trusted us to be creative with the
that's right.
With the answer.
I just said that before. That's right. Yeah. I think that's really, really important. And someone just said, "Oh, does the monster, lunge its head up?" And we wanted to get the minis up higher on the on the thing so the camera could see them. These are the things we think about for you, and so the players suggest that maybe twist up and they get lifted up or whatever. It's like yes, say yes at all. You can say yes, but
yes and yes, but
it's like my fumble was I pull my arrow out and it breaks. Yes, but Deirdre dies.
That's great.
Fantastic.
Cool.
Yeah.
Thanks, Ben. That was a great game. And hit us with any comments. Please like, subscribe, and favourite us, and share us amongst your friends.
Share us around on Facebook and stuff.
We'd love to. Yeah.
By the way, if you share us on the Paizo forum, Ben will go nuts. just so you know, he will flip. He will flip.
Thank you,
See you guys. Thanks so much.
Bye. Excellent.